Hello and welcome to Smaulgld. I would like to let you know that I'm starting to keep new charts on the Bitcoin Litecoin ratio. I think they will be relevant going forward in trying to figure out where the prices of Litecoin and Bitcoin may be going. The Bitcoin Litecoin ratio has plummeted in recent weeks. I'm going to show you some charts. We will update these charts regularly so you can follow along. Now, the natural Bitcoin to Litecoin ratio is 4-to-1 based on the mining limits of Litecoin, which they say will only be 84 million, versus Bitcoin, which will only be 21 million. Now, these are hard and fast numbers. They're not based on estimates. They're not based on geology. They are more than just natural numbers. They are actual hard set numbers. And Litecoin was intended to be, according to its creator Charlie Lee, the silver to Bitcoin's gold. And part of that was that Litecoin was to be more numerous, but not 16-to-1 more numerous, but only 4 times more numerous than Bitcoin. And currently, Litecoins that have been mined versus Bitcoins that have been mined, Bitcoin's further along the path of mining all of its 21 coins. So Litecoin's got a way to go to hit 84 million. So the ratio currently is 3.2-to-1. Let's take a look at some of these charts now. And the reason I'm interested in the Litecoin Bitcoin ratio, I think that the Bitcoin Litecoin ratio is far more relevant to analyzing the price than the gold silver ratio is, because I noted last week that the relative rarity of two commodities is rarely an accurate valuation methodology. There's many things at play, and the difference here though is Litecoin is so much more similar to Bitcoin than silver is to gold. We can point out all the differences of silver to gold. They are different color. They have different uses. It's not just the rarity of them. It's the history of them. There's different properties. The difference is Litecoin is almost identical to Bitcoin, except some might argue, other than having a smaller network, it is currently superior. It's already undergone its SegWit. It's faster right now than Bitcoin. It is less expensive to do transactions, and yet it's not approaching its relative rarity. And there's reason for that. I'm not going to get into discussion here why. However, as both the Bitcoin and Litecoin infrastructures and ecosystems mature, I would imagine that if they both stay around, that the ratio should, especially when we're close to mining all of the available coins, should come down closer to the natural mathematical ratio of 4-to-1. Let's take a look at the charts, and these charts I'll update, so bookmark, go to the website, Smaulgld, bookmark this web page. I'll put a link below, and then we'll just track it as we go along. Probably do a weekly update. Now, this doesn't tell you much. This is the Bitcoin versus Litecoin over the last 15 months or so, 16 months. And you can see, obviously, Bitcoin is far more expensive on a dollar basis. Currently, it's $1,500, $1,600, and Litecoin is $40, $41. However, there was a time when Litecoin and Bitcoin was trading $200, $300, $400, and Litecoin was trading $2, $3, $4. So you don't really see that on the map. So that's why I've created the Bitcoin Litecoin ratio series of charts. So here you have January 2016 to June 2017. And for a long period of time, the Bitcoin Litecoin ratio was well over 100. And that's because Bitcoin was favored. Bitcoin began rebounding over the last year and a half or so and has gone on a steady climb and then skyrocketed earlier in 2017. But Litecoin didn't really experience such an increase in price. It languished in the single digits for the longest time. As a result, the Bitcoin Litecoin ratio was well above 100. And just back earlier this year, we reached 321 Bitcoin to Litecoin. When Bitcoin made its spectacular rise, Litecoin kind of stayed where it was. Now, recently, Litecoin in the last 3 or 4 months has played catch up and has driven that ratio down to about 60 to 1, but still it's far higher than the 4 to 1. Let's look at it on a historical basis ever since May 2013. You can see Bitcoin Litecoin ratio was well under 100 prior to the big jump that Bitcoin made at the end of 2013. And when Bitcoin soared at the end of 2013, Litecoin went up pretty good, but it didn't go up as much as Bitcoin on a percentage basis. So the Bitcoin Litecoin ratio did get close to 100, but Litecoin didn't participate on an equal levels. It didn't stay in the 50-60 to 1 ratio. And then when Bitcoin fell off and there was a crash in cryptocurrencies, Litecoin fell along with Bitcoin. But Bitcoin, you could see, well, you really can't see, but you can see over here, started to rise up. It's kind of, ever since it crashed, it right here, you could see that right here, it slowly and steadily got itself off the floor and started rising. Litecoin didn't. Litecoin somewhat flatlined, and that caused the Bitcoin Litecoin ratio to rise. And this particular jump right here, boom, right there, Litecoin was flat during that period. Litecoin has only recently begun to play catch up. You can see the ratio. That was a big buy for Litecoin a few months ago when it was when Bitcoin took off and Litecoin stayed in the 20s. So there's your 321 to 1 ratio. That probably, well, that's the record ratio so far. Right now, as I mentioned, we're down to around 60. We can all make predictions. I would expect the ratio to continue to contract. I don't expect a 4 to 1 ratio anytime soon, but I would expect if both rise or even if both fall, that the ratio Litecoin to Bitcoin should continue to decrease. And I'd like to know what you think, and we'll track this. As I mentioned, bookmark the page. We'll keep these charts running and we'll see how it goes. Thanks for listening.